What's going on everybody, DigiValentine here right about now. Sonic the Hedgehog was my childhood hero, and the character still holds a very special place in my heart to this day. I was there when the first Sonic the Hedgehog game dropped on the SEGA Mega Drive. Little 6-year-old me got completely swept up by the influence. The whole package was just inspiring to see firsthand. One of the things I absolutely adored about the old Mega Drive games were the levels. Considering how graphically limiting it was to develop games in those days, somehow Sonic Team constructed these utterly gorgeous levels full of character and charm. They put that 16-bit machine to work. In this list, I'll be choosing 5 of my favourite levels from Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 on the SEGA Mega Drive. The reason I'm choosing levels from across both games is because I purposefully want to limit myself on what zones I feel would make the cut. It becomes more of a challenge that way, and not just that, but Sonic 1 pretty much only had like 6 full levels anyway. I'd be covering 90% of the game if I just focused this first video on Sonic 1 alone, so I'm throwing these two games in together. And I did intentionally mean to say first video, because if this video does well, I'm going to be swinging back around to do a second part on the zones I love from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. But one step at a time, yeah? Let's get through this video first and we'll see about that. Of course, this list is based on my personal opinions and are not guaranteed to reflect your own. Before I get into it though, I want to quickly send a huge shout out to Sandy Trance for backing me on Patreon. You are brilliant. Thank you so much for supporting me with this. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And if you also want to support me, there's a link to my Patreon page in the video description. Please consider checking it out, yeah? Safe. Alright, let's get into it. Here are my top 5 zones from Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 combined. Labyrinth Zone. Oof. Oh. Is that how you're choosing to start the list, man? Like, you're really gonna start with this one? Are you mad? Like, half the people have left already, man. What the hell's wrong with you? Are you being serious, though? Yes, I'm being serious. I'm not joking with you. I really do like Labyrinth Zone. The water-infested death trap that pretty much murdered a few people's playthroughs back in the day is sitting pretty on my number 5 spot. Before you leave, mind if I explain why though, yeah? Can I have that at least? Firstly, I am going to agree with the majority of you and say yes. The level is not very fun to play. I can think of nothing worse to do to Sonic than place him in a level where his main ability of going fast has been nerfed beyond recognition. Double upon the fact that if you mess around underwater for too long, you're gonna catch some instant death too, so yeah, you have me nodding my head in agreement. Labyrinth Zone is not very fun to play. That being said, I literally love everything else about it. I love how the water for this level is this ominous green, almost signifying that it's murky and dangerous and you must proceed with caution when entering it. I love how the foreground and background are shaded in these dusty orange hues, which contrast extremely well with the green water, making the water itself stand out more. I love the occasional crystallized objects that you come across, offering the zone's color palette some quick dashes of blue and pink. I love the markings that have been carved into the walls of the labyrinth, giving the level its ancient ruins vibe. One carving looks like some sort of fiery bird, while the other appears to be some sort of screaming face. Actually, am I the only one who sees this? Please tell me I'm not the only person who sees a head screaming in agony when I look at this one, yeah? I've seen it like this my whole bloody life and I'm not sure what else it could be. I love the sound effect that plays when Sonic grabs an air bubble. I love the unique sense of relief that you can only get when the timer is counting down until you run out of air and you just make it to the surface in time. I've had maths exams that were less terrifying than that bloody countdown tune, trust me. The payoff from managing to avoid drowning is euphoric in this level. And if we're speaking about emotions of joy, nothing soothes my soul more than the music for Labyrinth Zone. Like, I don't know, I feel like they were trying to offset the turmoil and terror of having to play a water level with this absolute delightful catchy rhythm. As a kid, I sung this tune more than any other song from Sonic 1. It got completely lodged in my brain. The melody for the hook is just, yes, bruv, yes! I love this! So, big ups to Labyrinth Zone, yeah? It may be a bitch to play through, but everything else about it is on point as far as I'm concerned. Mystic Cave Zone. In terms of playability, Mystic Cave doesn't do too much to me. It's a straightforward level with some switches you need to hit and some notoriously nasty spike pits you need to be wary of, but aside from that, it's pretty much plain sailing. The reason it makes it into my top 5 list is because of 2 things. The first thing is no surprise to anybody who knows me, green is my favourite colour, with purple dipping in for second place, and when we have both colours mashing it up together in such perfect harmony, then you have already won me. Mystic Cave Zone doesn't piss around with a couple of dashes of green or purple here or there, nah. It punches you in the face with heavy dosages of green for the foreground, while the purple slaps your ass from the back. Oi oi. There's just this perfect harmony of high-low color placements in this stage. The citrus vibe of green located on the floors and ceiling are stabilized by these mysterious otherworldly shades of purple. It might not do something for everybody, but for me, this color pairing is practically pure bliss. As an additional side note to the colours, I love how the further back the stage goes, the darker it gets. A few hanging lanterns litter the level too, not really providing much in the way of boosting the visibility, but it adds more to the nature of this zone taking place in a dimly lit cave. It just looks really good is what I'm trying to say. And the second reason for this level making my top 5 list will come as no surprise again, if you know me, and that is... Look, just listen to the damn song, man, I ain't even gotta say anything about this. Spring Yard Zone. If I'm going to be really honest with you, Spring Yard Zone as a concept is a weird stage. Like, I actually don't get the design behind it. The background makes you think of a dark abandoned city located within some mountain range, but the foreground looks like that vibrant out-of-place pinball table you saw that one time in that shady looking bar you went to. The one with all the weird stickers on it saying things like cope and CPU. It's strange, bruv. The design of this level is so bloody strange. You got a gloomy ghost town aesthetic crossed with a pinball table. And yet, I love this zone partly for that reason. If you've been paying attention, it comes as no surprise that the green and purple blend is what did it for me visually. The background holds down the darkened purple tones, while the middle and foreground caters to the green shades. And then some dark amber colours are thrown in as well because sure, we've come this far, why the bloody hell not? It's very pleasing to my eye, so naturally I was going to be drawn to it. But let's talk more about this choice in visual design because I feel that's what really makes Spring Yard Zone stand out from other pinball style levels featured in later Sonic games. I know the city located in the background is not meant to be considered a ghost town, but I personally always got that vibe from it because the city looks so void of life. The gloomy purple tones and the empty windows of the buildings just made it look like nobody is even living there. Coupled together with the fact that it's located in a mountain range during what appears to be dusk, and I just always got some creepy vibes from that city. Whether it's a ghost town or not though, the choice of colour definitely makes it appear a little on the eerie side. It's not the sort of background you'd put to a pinball type level. Later Sonic games would establish a formula for the pinball stages by portraying them as glittery amusement parks, playing off of the whole Las Vegas gambling lifestyle, and that fits it like a glove. But here is Spring Yard, the Sonic series' first jump into the pinball aesthetic, and it's a crazy hybrid of gloominess with insane neon lights. What an absolutely bizarre design for a level, but it's that unique style that keeps me remembering it. Actually, while I'm here talking about this, I did do a little research into Spring Yard Zone and apparently the background for this stage wasn't originally a city at all. Like some old magazine scans show the level with a blacked out sky and neon lights that are more fitting of a pinball stage. So where the hell did this purple city come from then? But, as I said, I like Spring Yard for this very reason. I actually really like cityscape designs in general, especially when they're featured in the background, so it's no doubt Spring Yard would grab my attention the way it has. Plus, it's one of my favourite colours too, so that's another reason for me to like it. And yes, of course I'm going to say the tune is sick, because we already know it is. Chemical Plant Zone. Yeah, you knew Chemical Plant was going to be on here without question. I remember the first time I saw it, I was just completely surprised by how the game went from luscious green landscapes of Emerald Hill to polluted, poisonous chemical factories in the very next zone. It's like Sonic 2 wasn't playing about. It's like, hey, you remember how we slowly eased you into the grimier levels in that first Sonic game? Well, kiss your ass goodbye because this time we're throwing you right into the shit. And what a level it was. High-rise skyscrapers litter the background, looking like we accidentally stepped into Streets of Rage for a minute. Blue and yellow ramps and walkways comprise some of the awesome high-speed sections of the level, making you move so fast that the screen doesn't even have time to catch up with you. The song, the bloody song, just punch it! You want a song that's going to get you fired up and ready to run? Back in the day, for me, this was it. This was the rhythm, bruv. You put this on and I'm breezing all over your city at light speed. You would not catch my ass, fam, trust me. What a great burst of energy this level gives you. It sets a certain pace that the rest of the Sonic series had to match. And sure, this level was a bit tough for a second stage, especially if you're someone like me who panics the very second the hedgehog touches a body of water, but even with its hang-ups and downsides, I just love Chemical Plant. For me, it's the level that practically defines Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Starlight Zone. Oh man, I have a feeling some people might not understand why I've chosen this as my favourite level, even after I explain it, but I'll try. Let's just take the rest of this list into consideration first, yeah? I've spoken about loving cityscape backgrounds. I've spoken about loving the colour green. And now I can tell you I also love a clear starry night sky. And when we get to this level and all three things are combined, I'm just really happy, man. It's visually perfect for me. Granted, it might feel a little empty at times, especially if you take the higher routes, because then you hardly get to see the city in the background, but when everything is presented as one, it's just a really pretty zone for me to look at. The street lights, the red and yellow flashing beacons on the walkways, the randomly placed hazard markers and red cones. It feels like Sonic has come across a section of the city that is still under construction and he's just trespassing for the fun of it. Speaking for the fun of it, we have to remember that Sonic in this game didn't originally come with a spin dash, so any chance to get a quick burst of speed was rare, but Starlight Zone put out for your boy. There's a bunch of moments in here where you hit a loop or a slope and Sonic just guns it. And for Sonic 1, with those moments being few and far between, Starlight really gave you a rush at the best of times. I sort of see Starlight to how Chemical Plant in Sonic 2 established a sense of speed for that game, because when you hit those fast points in Starlight Zone, you really feel it more than any other level. The music is very pretty too, naturally to match the stars hanging above your head. It goes hand in hand. It's not the sort of tune you put on to run like a maniac, but it's the track you play when you're out exploring the city streets at night and not just gazing at the stars. It's undeniably fitting for the visual theme of this zone. I know Starlight isn't the sort of level people put at the top spot, especially when you take the absolute behemoth that is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 into consideration as well, but growing up I honestly spent more time on Sonic 1. Not necessarily by choice either, I just didn't have my own copy of Sonic 2 until I got Sonic Jam on the SEGA Saturn. But during those early childhood years when I sat playing my Mega Drive and was being introduced to Sonic on a first-hand basis, I came away with more memories from Sonic 1 as a result, and anytime I think back to that game, Starlight Zone springs to the forefront of my mind instantly. I remember doing the level select cheat just to play this level by itself. Like, this level even had plenty of death pits in it, and I hate those, but I just can't ever hate this level. It's too precious, it's too nostalgic, and it gets my #1 spot without question. And just for the record, I am always going to spell this level as Starlight Zone, with Starlight being one word. I don't know why, it's too late for me to change my ways now, you can't save me, I am a lost cause. And those were my top 5 favourite levels from Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 combined on the Sega Mega Drive. I do have 3 honourable mentions that I want to include, so listen up. I want to send big ups to Aquatic Ruin because I love how fresh and clean that stage looks. Like, the water is crystal clear and genuinely looks inviting, unlike other water levels in the Sonic series. The reason it didn't make the main list is because despite how much I actually appreciate the level when I see it, I tend to forget it's there. Like, Sonic 2 was a massive game with so many different levels, and half the time I end up forgetting about Aquatic Ruin. But I do like it, I just wouldn't have been very true to myself if I included it within the main top 5. The second honourable mention would have to go out to Sky Chase for being so different in comparison to the other levels and trying something new. I didn't really gel too well with how it played, but I loved the build up and excitement of taking Sonic off the ground and into the skies. The music for that level was always very pretty to me too, so big ups to Sky Chase as well. And finally, I want to shout out Casino Night. I feel I owe that level some love too because the background for it is just gorgeous to look at. I'm not too fond of how the pinball stages play in these Sonic games, but if you're going to give me a sick looking cityscape background, you're going to get some respect for it, so shout outs to Casino Night as well. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you're still here and you haven't abandoned me yet, then thank you very much. I guess that means you're interested in seeing a follow-up video featuring zones from Sonic 3 and Knuckles then? I hope so. I'm probably going to do it anyway. Before I duck out, if you're new around these ends, please consider subscribing and also catch me over on Twitter and Instagram too because I'm out there, fam. Come follow me. And I've got to send a huge shout out to the heavy hitters backing me on Patreon right about now. People like Sunny Trance are funding everything I'm doing right here. They're making all of this possible and they have my absolute gratitude. And if you want to join them and help make this possible too, please consider checking out my Patreon. All support is greatly appreciated. I've been DJ Valentine, thanks for your time, take care, and I'll see you all again real soon. And yo, if they don't know about me, let them know, yeah? Safe.